position. He's had 8 race victories, and Delatraz, with 2 wins out of 2 races this weekend, is aiming for the treble. So can he secure the race honours? He's starting in the best possible position. He lines up at the front of the grid, and there's no pressure this time around on the shoulders of Louis Delatraz. With him at the front of the grid is Jahan Daruvula, who's involved in his own battle, and that is to try and come out on top of the rookie competition. He's battling there with Max de Forny, and although de Forny has had a better weekend, and in fact in terms of points he's looking stronger, Daruvula has the better grid position going into this race. The cars will shortly be released, ready for this 25-minute race. Things just slightly running later at Hockenheim after a red flag in the earlier Formula 4 race, but Formula Renault drivers are good to go. The road that they had to race on this morning was wet, although it has been declared a wet track, and there's still a bit of a damp patch in places. The road pretty much dry now, so they're on slick tyres, of course, and they will be released onto the formation lap very shortly. As far as race wins are concerned, 8 have gone the way of Delatraz, 2 to Kevin Jurg, 2 to Ukio Sasahara, 2 to Max de Forny, and 1 to Dries Vanthoor. We've had the majority of race weekends being double headers this year. Red Bull Ring was a triple header, and 2 wins to Kevin Jurg and 1 to Delatraz. So can Delatraz do 3 in a weekend? It will be very, very impressive if he could. There he is on pole position, Louis Delatraz, who of course is supported this weekend by his dad Jean-Denis, former Grand Prix racer but more successful in sports car racing, and the Delatraz family with links to BMW. So Louis earlier on in the day was to be found on the grid for the GT finale in BMW jacket, and maybe in the future a GT BMW career beckons for him. There is Jahan Daruvula, the Force India junior driver, a 3rd and a retirement. His results out of the 2 races held thus far this weekend, but Daruvula coming into this needing to try and outscore Max de Forny. De Forny has 201 points, Daruvula has 184.5, so it's going to be another of those situations to keep an eye to over the course of the race. The top 20 drivers score points. There is Kevin Jurg. He's had a 4th and a 2nd coming into this race. So what can Jurg do here to try and influence things? Well, he is fighting with Ukio Sasahara to be 2nd in the championship. There are 5 points between them. Jurg has 281, and Ukio Sasahara, their double winner this year, has 276. So you've got those 5 points between the pair. And as I say, the other battle is on between Max de Forny, starting on 201, and his opposition for the rookie title, Jahan Daruvula, on 184.5. Half points scored at Spa when the weather conditions were so bad that although the race started behind a safety car, it never got going. Weather just did not improve sufficiently. There is Dries Vanthoor, further back on the grid. Vanthoor will line up 5th, 9th after a penalty in race 1, 3rd in the 2nd. Ukio Sasahara, that we looked at a moment ago, has a 2nd and a 4th to his name. And the young Belgian driver, Dries Vanthoor, for Josef Kaufmann Racing, the champion team this year, ahead there of fellow Belgian Max de Forny, who drives for the ART junior team. The same ART that runs in the DTM, that used to run in Blancpain Endurance, has been so successful in GP2 over the years, for example. Frederic Vasseur's team. And there is Max de Forny, son of Didier, former GT winner himself, and also, of course, promoter of the Belgian Grand Prix. So Max de Forny, a double winner this season, good to go. 7th and 9th, his race results. There is the ART car of Darius Osqui, 8th in race 1, retired from race 2 with a mechanical drama. And then 8th on the grid will be Josef Zaruba, who's had a 10th and a 6th to his credit this weekend. So the cars will get this final warming up lap and then released, ready for business. There is Louis Delatraz. Doesn't matter what happens in this race, he's proved the point this year. He is very much a champion in Formula Renault, and he's also done outstanding work in the Euro Cup as well. But Louis Delatraz would ideally love to round out the year with another victory. You've got Jurg versus Sasahara for 2nd, and of course it is Jurg who needs to stay ahead of Sasahara there. And then in the rookie competition, Daruvula versus de Forny. So the cars will be released any moment. Just making sure that nobody has got any dramas. No, they haven't. So the green flag is now waved and the cars accelerate away. You get 30 points for a win in this, and then it's 24, 20, 17, and then it's reduced by 1 point for 5th place onwards. You can see where the road has never properly dried. Actually, the sky is about as bright now as it has been all day. This is about the only time we've had any break in the sky that's been so grey. Lots of heavy rain this morning, and incidents aplenty coming in the earlier race for the Formula Renault 2-litre Northern European Cup. This is the grid based on a driver's second best lap time out of the first qualifying session. And the field then working its way through the fast parabolica in bone-dry conditions. That gets you to 237 kilometres an hour in 7th gear, hard on the brakes to 1st gear for the hairpin. This is how the order is. Louis Delatraz ahead of Johan de Reuvelot, then it's Jörg Sasahara and Vantor ahead of De Forny in the top 6. Osqui is 7th. Zaruba will line up 8th on the grid ahead of Mazepin and Chavez. Then newcomer Denis Bulatov and Colin Noble ahead of Alex Gill, Stefan Rina, Pontus Fredriksson and Bartolomei Miretsky. 17th, Bruno Baptista ahead of David Drew. David Richert is 19th. 20th, Harry Salminen. And 21st is Mikko Pertola. And Pertola has been a driver with a 19th and a 16th to his name. Doesn't do that much racing, but Pertola is an engineer for the Position 1 Motorsport team, which is run by the man ahead of him on the grid, Harry Salminen. And so, when they're not too busy, the pair of them dust down a couple of cars and go racing. They're not setting the world on fire, but they're enjoying themselves, and the Position 1 team, good to have in the championship. That's the Polish driver. In the green and black car, you got a glimpse of Bartolomei Miretsky, who has come via the Kia Picanto Championship in Poland. He's a double champion of that. And the circuit looking a bit grubby in the stadium after lots of F4 cars ran wide and ploughed up the turf in the earlier race. So, the last round of Formula Renault 2-litre NEC for 2015. Championship already decided, but we have 2nd place and the rookie competition still to address. Through they come, down towards the completion of the formation lap. And then they will slot into place, ready for 25 minutes of racing. It is time rather than laps. And are we going to get through this without any incident? Let's see. So Louis Delatraz slots into place. Pole position on the 1x1 stagger grid is on the racing line, so it's on the outside for the run down to turn 1. With him at the front will be Johan de Reuvelot. Then you have also lining up into position Kevin Jörg, who is 3rd on the grid, 4th on the grid, Okia Sasahara. And as soon as the last car is in place, that of Mikko Pertola, then we will be good to go. The green flag will be shown at the back of the grid to say that everybody is where they need to be. And then the officials will quickly show a 5-second board. That is displayed now, just hidden behind the gantry. As you look at it, the lights in a moment will go red, and when the lights go out now, it's racing, and de Reuvelot was definitely creeping at the start. Then he stopped and bogged down. There's another car slow away, and I fear it was Kevin Jörg that was slow out of the blocks, but we'll check as the cars work their way round turn 1 for the first time. But de Reuvelot definitely was creeping. And so, was he outside his blocks? Yes, he was. There may well be a penalty coming for de Reuvelot as the cars work their way up then towards turn 1. It was Darius Osqui, apologies, who was the other one slow away. Jörg is safe. There's a spin, which looks like it's possibly Bruno Baptista for Koiranen. And off in avoidance has gone David Drew, the Mark Burdett Motorsport driver, trying to take evasive action. They're on the escape road at the exit of turn 2. There is Baptista getting going again. David Drew hopefully can carry on also. So the leader is Delatraz as they head down now into the Spitzkehre. And de Reuvelot challenging up on the inside of Dries Vantor, who has to back out of that to avoid contact. And there was still a bit of a whack between them as they went through the turn out of that right-hand hairpin. Where is de Reuvelot in relation to Max de Forny? He is ahead. He's got 2 cars between him and his opposition for the rookie crown as well. But de Reuvelot, I anticipate, will be under investigation. And Vantor goes up the inside and makes contact with de Reuvelot, who gets airborne. And de Reuvelot continues in the race, but the car may well have damage, and that was one Belgian driver getting into de Reuvelot and helping another Belgian driver. They're in different teams, but very definitely there, the rookie battle, because Vantor's in that as well, has just swung back in favour of Max de Forny. De Reuvelot rather rudely nerfed out of the way there. And how much damage has that done to the car? Because he was up on 2 wheels, it would have crash landed. And Johan de Reuvelot then continues, but he's losing places. He's fallen back behind Max de Forny, and de Reuvelot is very much on the attack. Big spin there, coming out of the soot curver, and contact at the end of the lap. 2 cars off, and that's going to be a safety car period to try to retrieve the incidents. So we have lost, coming out of the corner, Josef Zaruba was certainly one, and I fear, was it Alex Gill who was the other for Fortec? Gill was the spinner and got collected by Josef Zaruba. So that brings out a safety car. And it's rare that we have incidents at that last corner, but we've had one in this race. And there, with broken suspension, Alex Gill, Zaruba off into the barriers on the outside. So the safety car is called for to get those 2 cars out of harm's way. Look at it again. Gill runs wide, finds the wet part of the road, keeps his foot in, but spins. And Zaruba thought he'd done the right thing by going to the outside, but he gets collected, and off he goes. So 2 impacts. One breaks the suspension, and then the second impact as he hits the barrier breaks the front. So the safety car is deployed. There is Josef Zaruba's car that needs retrieving, and as soon as that is out of harm's way, and Alex Gill's car likewise, then we should be good for a restart. But frustration once more for the officials that drivers get themselves into strife. There it is from another angle. Gill wide over the curb, loses traction, spins. Zaruba has to go the long way around the outside and just gets collected. There's nothing he could do about it. Marshals scatter out of the way as Zaruba ends up in the barriers. There's an incident between number 35, which is Bruno Baptista, and David Drew under investigation. Whether the Vantor and Daruvula incident and Daruvala's start are investigated, we'll wait and see. So the field behind the safety car, or will be, because that will collect them this time. The field coming over the line. We're under safety car conditions, and the safety car will collect everybody at the exit of turn 1. It is deployed from turn 1. So the safety car will collect them this lap around. That replay of the start doesn't quite show Daruvula having crept, but he certainly moved forward. And that's another one, no doubt, that will be investigated. We might get another look in a moment. Again, you see that's just as the lights go out, but Daruvula had moved in advance of his line, I would have suggested. So the timing system would have triggered that, and the information should be there for the officials to act upon if required. And then this was turn 2, and it was in the mid-pack where Bruno Baptista made a move up on the inside and collected, other way around, David Drew it was who made the move on the inside of Bruno Baptista and collected him. So that's one incident being investigated, and now we do have confirmation that Daruvula is under investigation for a jump start. So that is now also being reflected on the timing screen message line. You just got the replay from another angle of Baptista and Drew. Now what about this? Vantor for the inside, door closes. He probably committed to it, but it was certainly a fairly forceful effort, and that is not as yet being investigated. It might be because there aren't enough lines on the timing screen to tell the teams about it, but it could also be that that is deemed to be a racing incident. And then there was this, Alex Gill losing it, and Josef Zaruba thinks, which way do I go? And he chooses the wrong way. Off he goes into the wall, and the pair of them out of the race. 2 more damaged cars. How are we doing in terms of the clear-up operation? It's all happening down at the last corner, and the clean-up is still happening, I'm afraid. So you've got 2 cars to retrieve and a bit of damaged barrier to sort out, of course, where the tyres would have taken a bit of a whack. So there is Zaruba's car being hoiked out of the way, and the safety car brings them through. So that's live as you see Gill's car moved, and all of this eating into the 25 minutes. Over the timing line they come. And Louis Delatraz, just to recap, is the race leader. Kevin Jurg second, Ukio Sasahara third. So that's good for Jurg for second in the championship. Then fourth is Enrique Chavez. Fifth is Max de Forny. Sixth is Vantor. Seventh is Daruvula. That's enough to give Max de Forny the rookie element of the championship. Ninth is Colin Noble. 10th, Bartolomei Miretsky. And then in 11th place, Stefan Riener. 12th, Denis Bulatov. He could be one to watch, Bulatov. 2 fifth places have gone his way this weekend. But for the moment, he is mired down in the traffic. Although Bruno Baptista got going incidentally after that incident up at turn 2, David Drew did not. So Zaruba, Gil and Drew are the ones that have gone missing. And we're on to lap number 4 with 18 minutes still to go. And the cars turn their way into the Spitzkehrer hairpin behind the safety car. And drivers involved in incidents then will head to the medical centre just to make sure that they are all okay. The officials not leaving anything to chance where there's pretty hard contact. And there in the other medical car, drivers being brought back from the final corner. So in a few moments, the track should be clear. Are we going to be able to get the race back underway this time? The medical car there turns off the pit straight. Yes, safety car will be in this lap. So the lights go out, safety car in this time. And Louis Delatraz then slows his pace, bunches up everybody behind him. And what he's going to try to do is outfox them all and start to accelerate. And when he does, he's got to keep on going. He can't go and slow because that just creates that dangerous concertina effect behind. It used to be the case that people would try and accelerate and then brake, and as their opponent brake, they get back onto the throttle and try and gain an advantage. But all that does, of course, is make more incidents happen in the pack, so that outlawed. And now you've got the driver, Louis Delatraz, controlling the pace, and he's already broken away from his teammate. Kevin Jurg second, Ukiya Sasahara third, and then Enrique Chavez in fourth as they try and keep off the painted curb. But Chavez runs up wide, doesn't come a cropper as a result, but does lose a little bit of ground to Ukiya Sasahara. Josef Kaufmann 1 and 2 as they head over the timing line. In third place then it is Sasahara for ART Grand Prix. In fourth place Enrique Chavez, fifth on the restart Max de Forny, sixth is the yellow car of Dries Vanthoor, and a challenge is made there. Darius Oskwi up on the inside, and Oskwi goes ahead of Harry Salminen, and there's a lock-up by Sasahara going into turn 2. 16 minutes of the race still to run as the cars turn their way through the Parabolica once again, and then up toward the Spitzkehrer. There is a drive-through penalty being given to Jahan Daruvala for a jump start. It was in the post, wasn't it? So Jahan Daruvala gets a drive-through for jumping the start, and the race leaders break for the Spitzkehrer, with Louis Delatraz looking as though 3 in a weekend is going to be his way. It's been a tremendous effort all season by Delatraz. Yes, he's been racing these cars for a couple of years, so he does have lots of experience, but he's made very, very few mistakes and has been quick all season, both in this and in the Euro Cup. So Louis Delatraz leads the way, looking as though 3 wins is there for the taking as he heads into turn 7. Jahan Daruvala then gets this drive-through penalty. The information will be communicated to him by the boards and also hopefully by the team. But the result of that is to take him out of the mix as far as the rookie competition is concerned. Irrespective of whether Dries Vanthoor made contact with him or not, the penalty was always going to go his way, wasn't it, after the jump start? So he was always going to have to drop out of the equation and serve the drive-through. The fact that he lost another place to Vanthoor is almost immaterial. Through the stadium they come. This, lap number 5, and when will Daruvala get the message, and when will he serve it? It's going to be right now. He slows coming through the Sudkurve, dives for the pit lane, and so down the pit lane comes the Indian driver, part of the Force India junior driver program. So many F1 teams these days with a junior affiliation, and Jahan Daruvala, who has been learning about a new car and new circuits all year, driving for the British Fortec team, has done a very good job. He serves the drive-through penalty. There's one out wide there at turn 1 as the field battles up towards the next right-hander. Miretsky tries to defend his place, and he does so. So up front, Louis Delatraz it is, leading the way, trying to build a gap over the rest of them as the cars now work their way through the Parabolica to the eye. The lead gap is down a little bit. It was just under a second at the start of this lap as Kevin Jurg was in hot pursuit of Louis Delatraz. They work their way now up through the Spitzkehrer. And there is Bartolomew Miretsky coming under attack once again. Denis Bulatov is the man who's trying to find a way past him. Bulatov has been good all weekend, and there's a challenge lower down as well, because there we had Bruno Baptista getting up on the inside of Harry Salminen, and he then defends on the run down towards turn 7. Pretty aggressively, in fact. Squeezes Harry Salminen in the Positi 1 Motorsport car. Bulatov again tries to find a way around on the outside of Miretsky, but to no avail. So now as they head down towards the stadium, there is Dries Vanthoor, who loses out because he goes off the road. He'd lost a place anyway, but then Vanthoor at the escape road misses out the whole of the stadium. And now what does he do? He's going to have to either sit and wait or rejoin and then give away places. The danger is by being on the outside that somebody runs wide and collects you. Vantor gets back onto the road. He should have been in 6th place behind Max de Forney, and there he is, and he picks up his place and his pace, but then loses out as past him. Coming over the line goes Enrique Chavez. So Chavez moves through, picks up the spot, and Vantor, having made a real mess of it, up the escape road. In other categories, we've had people going up the escape road and panicking and ending up in the barriers, but Vantor used the escape road as it should be to keep in the race. Now he's got Nikita Mazepin running round the outside of him. This now is for 6th place. Mazepin goes through, so although Vantor gave back the places he'd gained, he's lost more because he's not really been up to proper racing speed. Now he does fight back and go ahead of Mazepin through the Parabolica, heading up towards the Spitzkehre this time. Lap number 7, 12 minutes and change on the clock, and Dries Vantor goes back ahead now, back up into 6th position, and a big lockout by Mazepin, who goes straight on. Has he got a flat? The car looked like it was sitting down strangely there, and Miretsky has run wide as well. Whoa, way up over the curb there goes Nikita Mazepin. If he hadn't got damage before, it should have now. And now he's got to defend from Colin Noble, who comes up round the outside and gains the place. And Mazepin is losing out again because Darius Osqui's up the inside. There's something definitely not right with Mazepin's car. I think it's a slow puncture that caused him to run wide at the Spitzkehre, and it's happened again there. Look, I know he's now bounced over the curb and suffered some damage, but the way here, when he hit the brakes, yeah, I think that's a front right's got a slow puncture because it's barely turning, it's barely touching the ground, and the car slithers up the road. You can see it bouncing as though all the wheels aren't in full contact with the road. He's able to get out of that mess, but there's something clearly not right. And then it goes wrong again at the Spitzkehre. That doesn't help the situation, I'll grant you. And again, just look how soft that front right tyre is as he bounces. You can see it in slow motion. It looks soft from what glimpse you get there, but have a look as the car bounces, just how much absorption there is in that front right. You can't really see it on that angle, but bounces his way back onto the road. And so Mazepin, in fact, now is in the pit lane. But I think it was a slow puncture that was the cause of all of that. Now, had he made contact with Vantor, or had he run over something, either way, Mazepin is in the pit lane, and I fear he's out of the car looking into the distance. Not quite out of the car, no, but the team having a look. Yes, it is a new front right going on. So they're going to send him back into the race. Nikita Mazepin, who is another driver for the Josef Kaufmann team. And in a few moments, the car is going to be released, but they need to make sure that the wheel nuts are tightened up. They need to keep him on the lead lap if they can, so the 16-year-old Russian blasts down the pit lane. Russian back into the race at just over 10 minutes to go now as the leader, Louis Delatraz, lest we forget him, leading by over a second, getting away, therefore, from Kevin Jurg. He's also done the fastest lap of the race, so the day just gets better and better and better for Delatraz. He's won a championship, he's won 2 races this weekend, and a 3rd victory beckons. Colin Gill there coming under attack. 45 is... Sorry, Colin Noble, I should say. Colin Noble coming under attack in 45 because he's got Darius Osqui hunting him down, and Pontus Fredriksson is also in that mix as well. Over the timing line, Louis Delatraz now leading by an increased margin, 11/10 of a second it is. Noble versus Fredriksson is the next battle to keep an eye to. Osqui having got up and past them. Dries Vantor goes over the timing line. He's running in 6th spot and falling away by the look of it now because Enrique Chavez is just pulling away slightly further up the road. Delatraz continues to have the best lap of the race to his credit. As I say, the lead gap has extended, and Darius Osqui into the top 10, trying to work his way up into contention now. Bruno Baptista, who was knocked into a spin early on, also working his way back into the mix now, starting to close on the traffic up the road ahead of him as the cars now power on towards the Spitzkehre. Bruno Baptista looking to gain a place if he can from Pontus Fredriksson, who wants to get past Colin Noble, former Radical racer Colin Noble, then raced in the BARC Formula Renault Championship, another now defunct UK single-seater series, but has come to the NEC this year and gone strongly. So for the moment, Noble in 11th, Fredriksson behind him. He got turfed out of race 1 and had broken suspension, Pontus Fredriksson, yesterday afternoon. And look how the conditions are improving all the time. The sun is out, finally, at 5:25 local time. Best weather of the day. The leader through, Delatraz dominating the race. But up front, the opposition left a trail in his wake. there are some good battles lower down, and this is definitely one of them. Colin Noble is in 11th spot, fending off Pontus Fredriksson. Further up the road, Miretsky, number 96, has got Oskwi bearing down on him. Darius Oskwi for ART Junior team charges on. So the two race leaders have just started lap number 10, namely Louis Delatraz and his fellow Swiss teammate at Josef Kaufmann Racing, Kevin Jörg. In third spot, it is Okio Sasahara, and that means that Jörg will be good for second in the championship. Sasahara, who won the opening race at Monza, had another win at the Nürburgring, just not able to take the battle to him today. And then in fourth place is Max de Forny. Now, where is de Ruvela after the drive-through? Well, he's just gained a place, in fact. Johan de Ruvela is in 14th, but that takes him out of the mix as far as the rookie crown is concerned. Challenge made there. Look under braking up at turn 2. Baptista ahead of Fredriksson. So Bruno Baptista working his way up the order. The South American driver, Bruno Baptista, the Brazilian, driving for the Koiranen team, the Finnish team. But Baptista, after a spell in the South American single-seater scene, came to Formula Renault Alps and moved to the NEC Championship midway through this year. And Baptista defending because Pontus Fredriksson has not given up as they dive down to Spitzkehre, tries to get the wide line in and the tighter line out. And so Fredriksson in the Prisma Motorsport car is right under the rear wing of Baptista. Fredriksson fourth in the Nordic Formula Renault 1.6 Championship last year, but he can't find a way through. Gets a tow, gets the outside line. Can he get the cut through? Can he get the inside line? No. Door closed, so there's no opportunity there. The line claimed and defended by Bruno Baptista, who continues then to hang on to the advantage. Down they come into the stadium once more. This battle now is for 12th place, with Baptista having gained the spot on this lap. Running out wide there is Johan de Ruvela behind them, so de Ruvela still pushing on, trying to get himself as high up the order as he can, but with all due deference to him, it's a rather forlorn hope now because the rookie quest is gone unless big drama befalls Max de Forny. And you don't get separate points in this championship for the rookie class. You take the points for where you finish overall. So even if de Forny were to drop out, the fact that de Ruvela is so far down is still a mark in the negative column for him. The race leaders currently on lap number 11. We've got 6 minutes on the clock, and there Bartolomei Miretsky is busy fending off Darius Oskwi for 10th spot as the cars work their way through the Parabolica once again. As they do so now, there's the run up toward the Spitzkehre, and Oskwi is possibly close enough to think about diving out and making a move. They get to the braking zone, he does dive out, and there is Vantor going up the inside of Enrique Chavez, but he runs out wide, so one up and one down for Dries Vantor. That was for 5th place, and so Chavez let him carry all the speed through and just ducked back up the inside and took the place away again. What about Miretsky versus Oskwi? Oskwi is through in the background by the look of it. He has gone by, so up into 9th place now, Darius Oskwi, as the cars turn their way into the Mercedes Arena and the race leaders are into the stadium once again. Louis Delatraz continues to lead the way convincingly. What's going on further back in the pack as the rest of the drivers work their way to the Sachs curve. There is Vantor in the yellow car, Dries Vantor on the back of Enrique Chavez. And Stefan Riener is behind them. He's also coming into the mix now in 7th place, Stefan Riener, having started a bit further back on the grid for this race. He started indeed 14th, so Stefan Riener has made some good progress up into 7th spot. The leaders go through into the last 5 minutes. The lead gap continues to extend just slightly, but extend it does. It's up to 1.2 seconds now between the leader Louis Delatraz and Kevin Jörg in 2nd spot. Okio Sasahara 3rd, dropping away from Jörg. In fact, last time, Kevin lapped fractionally quicker than did Louis Delatraz. But I still think that Delatraz has got this all under control, doing just enough to make sure he comes out on top. There is Stefan Riener, number 36, in the Fortec Motorsports car, the British team, running the Austrian driver who raced in Formula Renault Alps, raced before that in the Formula ADAC Master Championship, replaced now by Formula 4 in Germany. And Riener, new to the NEC, as again Vantor makes his move up the inside and again outbrakes himself. And this time is in danger of losing another place because Stefan Riener is right there behind him. So for the 2nd lap in a row, Dries Vantor tries and fails to get past Enrique Chavez, but now, because of the pace of Stefan Riener, absolutely charging on, having joined the championship late this year, he's bringing the gap down and down and down. It won't be long before he's a real factor, and that is Max de Forny getting it locked up into the Spitzkehre. The rookie championship leader, running in the race in 4th overall. He's had 2 outright wins this year as well, Deforny. He's been impressive in his first season of car racing at this level. And so Max Deforny turns his way into the stadium, still pushing as hard as he can. 3 more minutes are on the clock. Louis Delatraz is the race leader. He has an advantage that's gone up again now of 2.4 seconds over Kevin Jurg. Behind him in 3rd place is Sasahara, and 4th is Deforny. In 5th spot, Vantour. Sorry, in 6th spot, I should say, is Vantour ahead of Stefan Riener, and the gap between them is now 0.6 of a second. Now, there's a bit of a tar-smoking lock-up there, further up the road from Max Deforny. This is the fight for 5th and 6th and 7th now. Chavez, Vantour and Riener. In 8th place behind them in the Dayglow car from AVF is Denis Bulatov, trying to get into the mix as well. Former kart racer Denis Bulatov, who's joined the championship this weekend for the first time. And he's doing his level best to stay on the back of this group and indeed gain places. Race leaders currently work lap 13. Is there going to be time for 1 or for 2 more laps at the end of this? The field quite strung out, even though we had that safety car period, and the field through the Spitzkehrer. A flying lap is 1 minute and 40 seconds. I think Delatraz, who's coming up, would you believe, to the last corner on the lap, as you look at the 5th place drivers coming now into the Mercedes arena, such is the monster gap that Delatraz has over the opposition, then it's going to be, I think, 1 more lap. Let's see. There is contact as de Ruyveler gets up the inside of Bruno Baptista, heading through the Spitzkehrer. And so the race leader, Louis Delatraz, heads there towards the timing line. Will go through with 1 minute and 36 on the clock. This will be the last lap of the race for him. Final lap confirmed. Louis Delatraz onto the final lap of the weekend, of the season in Formula Renault 2-litre NEC, and he's going to win 3 races in the weekend as well as winning the championship. And this, perhaps the easiest of them. No pressure whatsoever. He's just been able to drive the car. Doesn't have to think about points. He's also been able to gap the opposition. And Louis Delatraz, who's certainly come on apace as a driver, moved through the Formula BMW Talent Cup, which was the driver training and then one public race meeting competition that replaced Formula BMW as effectively it had become Europe-wide category. And then Delatraz stepped into Formula Renault. Took him a little bit of time to get used to the 2-litre car, but this year he's had his season of seasons and leads Kevin Jurg, who last year looked the more impressive. Down they come into the Mercedes arena for the last time. There are BMW connections between Delatraz and the manufacturer, so where does he go next? Is there going to be a BMW involvement? Could he, for example, be placed in a GT programme, or will he carry on in single-seater racing? Jean-Denis Delatraz, his father, will have a huge part to play in that, I'm sure. But for now, the Josef Kaufmann racing driver heads into the stadium for the last time. We're not done yet, because there, look, there's a change as Vantour drops back behind Bulatov. So the battle continues, and Vantour is losing places on this last lap because 2 cars have got up and passed him. Riener is through, Bulatov is through. Has Vantour had a moment somewhere, maybe up at the Spitzkehrer, and lost more places? We might get a replay to confirm, as here comes Louis Delatraz to score a 9th win of a championship winning season. Louis Delatraz dominates Formula Renault 2-litre NEC at Hockenheim this weekend. Kevin Jurg, his teammate, comes home for 2nd position. Okio Sasahara 3rd, and that confirms Jurg as the runner-up in the championship. Max Deforny 4th to win the rookie championship. 5th, Enrique Chavez, and then 6th, it is Stefan Riener. 7th is Bulatov, and 8th drops Dries Vantour. And very nearly, he dropped to 9th because he had Darius Oskwi right on his tail at the end. 10th, Bartolomei Mierecki. So, another great season of Formula Renault racing comes to a close. And for Louis Delatraz, it just could not be better, because having won the championship, to take 3 race wins in a weekend is massively impressive. And no mistakes evident. He just got on with the job in hand, drove clear of the opposition. And so the win goes the way of Delatraz. Jehan de Ruyveler in the end, incidentally, 11th after the drive-through penalty that he had. So a frustrating race. De Ruyveler 2nd on the grid, 11th. Not a bad recovery, in fairness, after the drive-through penalty. But Louis Delatraz has no concerns. He is a very happy race winner and will make his way round to the podium, a place that he has been very regularly this year. Confirmation of the race results. Delatraz from Jörg from Sasahara. Max Stefani taking 4th ahead of Enrique Chavez. Then in 6th, Stefan Riener. 7th, Denis Bulatov. In 8th place, it was Dries Vantor. 9th, Darius Oskui. And 10th, Bartolomei Mierecki. 11th, Jahan Deruvala. And Colin Noble took 12th ahead of Bruno Baptista. 14th was Pontus Fredriksson. Harry Salminen was 15th ahead of David Richert. And then Mikko Pertela with Nikita Mazepin after his pit stop for a new tyre, coming home in 18th spot. 2.9 seconds, the margin as you see on the caption. Delatraz to Jörg, and another great display of how to race and how to win in a Formula Renault, courtesy of Louis Delatraz. And so the drivers then will complete the in-lap, make their way now to Parc Fermé, and then swiftly they will be rushed up to the podium. It has been a very, very good season of racing again in Formula Renault 2-litre NEC. More to come next year, which we will look forward to. But for now, there's a big celebration tonight, the end-of-year championship party, and the man who is going to have a lot of silverware to carry home is right there. Louis Delatraz in a moment will step from the car. And a 9th win of the year for Louis Delatraz confirms that he is a very deserved champion. He steps from the car to go and embrace his father, and then Papa Kaufmann, Josef Kaufmann Sr. Everybody keen to congratulate the champion. And of course that was merely a race win, but what it does also do, of course, is extend the winning margin that he has in the title race come the end of the year over everybody else, left a trail in his wake. It's going to be fascinating to see where Delatraz goes for next season, and you put him against different people in different cars. Will it be FIA Formula 3, for example, and how would he get on in that environment where it is another ultra-competitive championship? But for now, there is the top step of the podium for the unassuming Swiss driver. And in the background, you hear the dulcet tones of Corridor Vlaming, who is the media officer for the championship, who in a moment will escort the top 3 and also the winning rookie, Max Stefani, up to the podium. 3rd place, Ukio Sasahara, a double race winner this year, but this weekend when he needed to be outscoring Kevin Jörg, he couldn't do it often enough. So he finishes the year 3rd in the championship, 2nd in the championship and 2nd in the race, Kevin Jörg. But the dominant season of Louis Delatraz and Josef Kaufmann Racing is concluded with a 9th win of the season. And the top 3 in the race, the top 3 in the championship. The 4th driver that will make his way to the podium is Max Stefani, and he is the winning rookie. It's been a very lively season, some great action we have had all year. And Louis Delatraz confirms that he is the man of the moment in Formula Renault with another victory. He steps from the car and in a few moments will make his way to the podium. As the drivers head in that direction, let's have a quick look back at some of the highlights of the final round of Formula Renault 2-litre NEC of 2015. It has been a frantic season of Formula Renault 2-litre Northern European Cup. A champion crowned in Louis Delatraz with another race win. 3 in a weekend, the perfect way to end the season for the new champion. Expect more great action in 2016. For now, thanks for your company this season. From David Addison at Hockenheim, it's goodbye.
Verdiente Champagner durch